Hi, we're going to be looking at National 5 Maths and finding the area of a triangle without a calculator. So calculator's away. This is part 1 and we'll be looking at the skills that you need to be able to tackle non-calculator questions. Okay, so we have 4 questions here. You need to remember that it doesn't matter what order you do a multiplication in. So remember that 2 times 5 and 5 times 2 have the same answer. So you can swap the numbers around within a multiplication. Okay, so when we're working out our fractions here, it's important to remember that if you've got a quarter times something, it means the same as finding a quarter of something. Okay, so I'm going to have a look. What could I find a quarter of in this first question here? A quarter of 3. 3 isn't in the 4 times table, but 84 is. So I'm going to find a quarter of 84. And that's 21, but I still need to multiply by the 3, and that gives me 63 there. Okay, next one along. Again, it's got a quarter. Whoops, that's better. A quarter. Now, a quarter of 76 or a quarter of 36. Now, both of those two numbers are in the 4 times table, but it's going to be easier for me to work out a quarter of 36 for this one. So a quarter of 36, that's 9. 9 times 4 makes 36. 9 times, and then we've got the 76 there. Okay, so different options as to how you would work this out. I'm going to change to 76 times 9, work out 70 times 9 and 6 times 9, and add those together to get the final answer there. So 7 times 9 is 63, 70 times 9 would be 630 then. 6 times 9 is 54, and altogether 684. Okay, now that's a simple way to do it. Okay, I'll show you what would happen if we did it by doing a quarter of 76 first. Okay, so how many 4s are in 76? Okay, now remember, you might be able to work this out in your head, but I have to make sure everybody's got a way of doing it. Okay, so how many 4s are in 7? And there's 3 left over. How many 4s are in 36? There's 9. Okay, now that's me worked out a quarter of 76. That came out as 19 times 36. Now that's a harder sum than what we did a minute ago. Okay, when I did it by doing a quarter times 36, I ended up with 76 times 9. Okay, and that's much easier than working out 19 times 36. Okay, so that's why I went with doing a quarter of 36. Okay, so I put back my working out that I had before there. Now, the thing with number talks is that you get given questions and they're always slightly similar. So if we look at these 2 questions here, okay, what you should notice, let me just rub some of this out. What you should notice is that there's a quarter in this question and a quarter in that one. There's 3 in that one and 3 in that one. There's 4 there, 84 rather there, and 84 there. So they're actually both the same question because you can do your multiplies in any order. So if the answer to the first one is 63, the answer to this one is 63. So if we look across to the next ones, these are a pair as well. So we've got a quarter and a quarter. We've got 76 and 76 in the second one too. We've got 36 and we've got 36, and they're just separated with multiplies, so it's exactly the same sum. So this one will also have an answer of 684. Okay, so you can pause that and have a look at how we did those. Next slide's going to have ones for you to do. Okay, so here's a slide for you to do. So if you pause the video now and work these ones out by yourself. Okay, this is what I got for the first two. This is all my working out for the first question. And that's the working out that I did for the second question. So you can see for the first one, I did a quarter of 56 first. Okay, and I worked that out over here. Okay, and for this one, finding a quarter of 16 is much easier than finding a quarter of 72. Okay. Right, last two there. Again, you should notice that this one's got a quarter, and so is that one. This one's got 56, so is that one. This one has got 3, and that one's got 3. And they're all being multiplied together for both questions, so it's just the same question, meaning that this one also has an answer of 42. Okay, and last one, a quarter, and a quarter down there, 72. In both, 16 in both. So those two questions are both the same, so we have got an answer of 288 for that one. Right, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to build you up. If you look at the top here, we're trying to build you up towards doing a half AB sinC without a calculator. Okay, so that's what we're trying to do. A half AB sinC is the formula that you will learn at National 5 for finding the area of a triangle. Okay, so what do we have here? Right, first one, they're all just multiply. So you need to look at this and think, what can I multiply together? I've got a half. Can I find an even number? 3 is not even, 4 is even, so that would be a good one to do there. So half of 4 makes 2, and I've still got to multiply by my 3 and my 0.3. Okay, I'm going to leave the 2 where it is. I'm going to do 3 times 0.3. Okay, that comes from 3 times 3 being 9. And then 2 times 0.9, if it was double 9, it would be 18. So this one's going to be 1.8. Right, same idea with the next one. We have got fraction a half. 3 is not an even number. 5 is not an even number, but that 4 on there is. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do then is to write down half of 0.4. Half of 4 is 2, so half of 0.4 is 0.2. And I still need to multiply by the 3 and the 5. Okay, right. Now remember, you're looking for easy options. Okay, because mathematicians, I've told you before, mathematicians are quick because they look for easy options. Now I know what 0.2 times 5 is. Okay, I know that 2 times 5 makes 10, which means that 0.2 times 5 is 1.0. Now 1.0 is just 1. Okay, so if I do 0.2 times 5, that makes 1. I've still got to multiply by the 3, and that gives me the answer 3. Okay, now the next slide's going to have questions for you to do. Okay, so if you stop the recording and try these ones. Okay, so this is how I worked out the first one. So for the first one there, I worked out half of 8 being 4, and then I multiplied by the 5 and the 0.1. you can see that I've started the second one as well. So I'm going to do a half of 0.6 to start the next one. Okay, so that's me finished my second one there. So a half of 6 is 3, so a half of 0.6 is 0.3. So from there, I've done 0.3 times 5 makes 1.5. That comes from knowing that 3 times 5 is 15, so this one would be 1.5. I've still got to multiply it by the 7, so I've done a wee sum at the side and then popped my answer back in. Okay, next one here, I'm going to do half of 4 because 4 is the only even number that I can see there. Okay, so that's me finished that one off. So I started it with half of 4 makes 2, and I still needed to multiply it by the 3 and the 0.3. So remember, your working out might look a little bit different to mine. It just depends on what order you choose to do your multiply in. For the last one here, I'm going to do half of 0.8 because that's the only even number that's there for that one. Okay, so half of 0.8 is 0.4, and I've still got to multiply by the 3 and the 7. 4 times 3 is 12, so this will be 1.2. I've still got to multiply by the 7. Now, I know my 12 times table, so 12 times 7 is 84, so this one's going to be 8.4. Okay, 2 more questions for us to do together. Again, this is preparing to do a half AB sinC. Now, the ones that we had a minute ago, we had a decimal on the end there. But this time, we're going to do it with a fraction there. Okay, so first thing I noticed about this first one is that I've got 2 fractions. I've got half and I've got a sixth there. Okay, so you know how I like to do these. I like to work out the fraction bits first. So I'll just take the colouring off the third a minute. So I'm looking for something that I can find half of, and the only even number that I've got there is the 12. So I'm going to do half of 12 is 6, but I've still got to multiply by the 3 and the 6th. Remember, you can rejig this into any order you want. I'm going to do a sixth of 6 times 3. A sixth of 6. Okay, 6 shared by 6 makes 1, and I've still got to multiply by that 3. Okay, next example. A little bit trickier, this one. Again, we've got 2 fractions in it. Half of an even number. There's an even number there. It always helps if there's an even number. So a half of 8 makes 4. I still need to multiply by 15, and I'm also multiplying by 5/6. Okay, now, because I'm working in sixths, I'm going to have to share by 6. 4 is not in the 6 times table, and 15 is not on the 6 times table, so that's a little bit annoying. But it's not the end of the world, because if we work out 4 times 15, right, that's what I'm thinking. Let's have a think about that. 15 times 4. Right, if you've watched some of my other videos, you know that for 4, I like to double and double again. So double of 15 makes 30, and double it again makes 60. So this bit here makes 60. So let's start to think about 5/6 of 60. Okay, that's better because 60 is in the 6 times table. Okay, so remember, if you find a sixth, you're sharing by 6. So what's 60 shared by that 6? 60 shared by 6 makes 10. And we've still got the 5 on the top. Remember, we're multiplying. Okay, we've still got to pop that 5 in. So we end up with 50. Okay, here's 4 questions for you to try. So pause the video. Okay, for the first one here, I'm looking for the half bit, half of an even number. So I've done half of 8 to make 4. I've still got to multiply by the 5, and I've still got to multiply by the 10th, okay? So remember, finding a 10th of something, you're sharing by 10. So neither 4 nor 5 is in the 10 times table, but if I multiply those together, they make a number that's in the 10 times table. So if I just turn that around the other way, a tenth of 20. Okay, remember that? A tenth of 20, multiplying of are the same thing. So a tenth of something, share it by 10, and you get 2 for that one there. Okay, next one, again, half, I'm looking for an even number. Okay, so I've done a half of 6 is 3, and I've still got to multiply by the 21 and the 9, the 9th rather. So remember, when we multiply by a 9th, we're actually going to divide by 9. Now, neither 3 nor 21 are in the 9 times table. So I'm going to multiply these two numbers together, and hopefully it'll make, yes, it makes a number that's in the 9 times table. Okay, now some people aren't so good at doing the multiply that way around. They like to see it this way around. And then it starts to make a bit more sense, because multiply is the same as of. A 9th of 63. How many 9s are in 63? 7. Okay, so that's the first two. Again, next one. Start with the half. Okay, half of 8, because that's your even number. Okay, so I've started off there. Half of 8 is 4, and I've still got to multiply by the 15 and multiply by the 6th. So again, I've got this problem where neither 4 nor 15 is in the 6 times table. I'm sure that I just worked out 4 times 15 earlier. That came out as 60. Okay, if you've forgotten that, remember 15 times 4 is the same as 15 doubled and doubled again. Double 15 is 30, double it again makes the 60 that I popped in there for you. Now 60 times a 6th, like I've said before, a lot of people don't like it that way around, so swap it round. Okay, 1/6 of 60. How many 6s are in 60? 10. Okay, next one. Oh, half of 8. It's another one with an 8 in it. Half of 8 makes 4. And I still have to multiply by the 3. Oh, this one's a wee bit trickier. And I've still got to multiply by the 7/12. Okay, now because we're working in 12ths, I'm going to have to share by 12. Neither 4 nor 3 is in the 12 times table, because the number in the 12 times table is 12. 12, 24, 36. So I'm going to multiply these two numbers together in the hope that they will make a number in the 12 times table. 4 times 3 makes 12, times 7/12. Okay, so some people like to do that 7/12 of 12. I've just swapped them around the other way. Okay, so if you're finding a 12th of something, oops, wrong pen. If you're finding a 12th of something, you're dividing it by 12. 12 shared by that 12 is 1, and we still have to multiply by that 7 that's on the top of the fraction there. Okay, still got to multiply by that 7 there. So 1 times 7 to finish it off makes 7. That's the end of today's lesson. The next lesson that goes with this, you'll be looking at answering SQA exam level questions.